Okay, we can get started. I know we're a little tardy, but I love to start on time so we can get in and get out because I'm asking to come out here.
I'm so happy I'm here.
This is their time, so I'm trying to be as prompt as I can. So we can all take a seat. Mr. Stewart, Larry. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone that took time out of their busy schedule and their life to come out here to this. This is our 7th town hall meeting. My name is Derek Burgess. I'm trustee here in the village. And I'm going to try to go over the rules quickly. You can ask whatever questions that you would like to ask. We're not going to get personal. We're not going to get to the point where we're going to name call, and we're not going to engage if it gets too bad. I mean, you can ask questions. There's no time limit, but if it gets to the point where you're being too personal or you're just browbeating the person, then I'll stop that because that's not what this is about. We're not here to point fingers. We're here to ask questions, try to get answers, and also try to bring awareness in this meeting. I see the mayor's here, so he will be taking down some notes if you have some things. I'm sure he's going to take them down, and at a later time he can address them. If he doesn't, then we'll see what we can do, but most times he will. So at this time, I promised everyone that we would have a special guest. Our special guest is our own deputy police chief, Rebecca Salisbury. I asked her to come out. We've had a lot of residents concerned about the police department, what they're doing. They're saying this and that. I just want her to kind of explain some things at the beginning of this meeting. Then after that, we're going to other things. But I just wanted her to explain some of the things, what you should look forward to when you're stopped by the police. I won't say proper etiquette, but some things that you just don't do. I mean, they will cause you to get a ticket. I was at a meeting a month ago in Madison, and their police chief explained to some of the residents. And the residents were pretty receptive. However, it didn't get too back and forth where they accused the police officers of doing this and saying this and profiling and things like that. I'm not saying that doesn't go on, but I'm not here, and no one is here you can't answer for another person. There's good and bad in every organization that you have. But what the right thing to do, and there's a certain way you should carry yourself also when you're stopped by the police. But we're not going to just limit it to the police. We're going to open it up, as we always do, to questions and things that concern of the village. That's what this is for. You have concerns, you have questions, you have comments, and you can talk back and forth with each other, like I said, as long as it doesn't get personal. So at this time, also next month, I will explain, there's going to be a presentation next month, and I'll explain that at the end of this. But right now, I'd like to open it up to our own Rebecca Salisbury, Deputy Chief of Sauk Village.
Thank you, everyone. First, let me apologize. I was not notified that I would be speaking at the meeting, and I wasn't series of questions. So I'm coming in blindly, so I'll do my best to answer what I can. If it's something pending or something of that nature, if it's about a specific case or specific individuals, I cannot comment. Obviously, pending criminal cases or otherwise. So I can answer, shed light on policies, procedures, anything of that nature. If I want to know a little bit more, I'm going to provide some documentation to help. So the only thing I can do at this time is kind of open up for questions and see, what some of the concerns are. I think you mentioned traffic stops.
Traffic, and also, Deputy, if a person gets stopped for a traffic ticket or whatever, a lot of people jump out their cars, a lot of people confront the police officers, then the police officers have the tendency to be apprehensive, and that starts a ball rolling. What would be the best thing for a person who, once they're stopped by the police officer, before the officer comes up to their car?
Well, if you're stopped by the police, the most important thing is to comply. The officer should not be asking you really to do anything that you wouldn't feel comfortable complying. It's for your safety and for the safety of the officers. Your hands should be visible. Well, you can just keep on the steering wheel on your left. Things that officers are trained to look at is called furtive movements. So that's if you get pulled over, and it could be something as innocent as your purse being underneath the seat. But the officers are trained, and that's a red flag immediately. Now that they're going to be on a much higher alert level. Something that could be innocent, your phone fell down there, maybe you're treating your phone. But that's not what the officers train. The officers train for officer safety. A lot of injuries, a lot of shootouts, road traffic stops, a lot of crimes. What starts as a regular traffic stop, sometimes you have proceeds from the burglary in the back and see. So traffic stops are very dangerous. They should always have a secondary unit. So if the first officer is a single officer in a car, you can expect there's going to be a secondary vehicle rolling that way or coming up, and he'll strategically position himself. And it's positioning where the lights are and the safety. So if you're getting pulled over and it's a dark lit road, you do tell the citizens you can pull to, a well-lit area. Now you don't want to start accelerating to do that. You turn your blinker on, give the idea that you are pulling over, but you slowly at the current speed, you can drive to the nearest, a little bit lit area. Now you can't take this a mile or so, it's got to be within reason. But definitely don't increase your speed to do stuff, stuff like that. The officer should be able to give you a reasonable amount of time to pull over the area, either off the roadway or off where it's a little bit safe. I see we have one question already.
I got a mic for everyone, so.
I got a big mouth. Do we have any unmarked cars or are they all marked?
We have unmarked police cars, yes. We have some that are called slick tops, and what that simply means is there's no light bar on the top of the squad. We have some that are not marked at all. They have no police stickers, no obvious indications that that's a marked squad car.
As a woman driving around at night, I don't really want to pull over unless I see some gumballs. Would they be okay following me to another spot where I know I'm safe?
A spot within reason, yes. Yes.
Okay, like a police station.
Depends on where the traffic stop originates from. Now, if you're being pulled over at 394 and you're going to drive to the police station, you're going to have, I can guarantee you're going to have more than one squad car behind you by the time you get there.
I watch too much on TV, too many mystery stories, and I wouldn't want to just stop for anybody. I want something to identify them to me.
The administration, officers are officers. When we put our officers in unmarked cars, they know ahead of time what their duties are. We might have an unmarked car, and we're doing, a specific detail. Those are usually grant-based. But if it's traffic related, and that's something that we're going to utilize, a highly marked squad car. One, our policies and procedures, if you're in an unmarked squad car, you're not pursuing. It's too dangerous. The lights, sirens, all that's needed, so the other traffic, so everybody, you know, keep it, maintain the level of safety. So when we do our traffic details, we're putting out the marked cars. You know, when we're specifically targeting, it's high visibility, high profile, you know, they're fully marked cars. There is going to be the occasion we might have unmarked cars out there working on base, you know, that we wouldn't be discussing. But for them to pull off to do a traffic stop, then there's something out of the ordinary. Either they think that car's involved, or we had another case called in, and they're you know, when people call in the police cars, or I'm sorry, when people call in these calls, they just say the guy jumped in a red car and went westbound. So now we're looking at all red cars, and if you happen to be driving a red car, you know, so yes, ma'am.
Vicki, I read on Facebook.
I'm sorry, I can't.
I said I read on Facebook.
Facebook.
You know, I love my Facebook.
Facebook. What's the most important thing when you get information? Who is the author?
Okay. But it makes sense, and that is if you are stopped by an unmarked car, that you should dial the phone number to your, and with ours being so local, to dial them and let them know that you are being pulled over, you're reluctant to do so because it's an unmarked car.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have that right. But here's the catch. It is now illegal to operate a cell phone while driving.
Right.
Okay? But if you're being pulled over and you're calling for your safety to verify that if it's an unmarked car, I think that's what they're reason. Now, it varies per officer. When I train an officer, when we get behind a car and it could have expired plates, or we ran the plate, or we know the individual is suspended or revoked, and we're already in the mindset that we're going to stop this car in front of us. I've already called in the plate, I've already ran the plate on my car, and I've already informed dispatch. You know, we're in northbound Torrance Avenue, north of Sauk Trail, red Hyundai, Illinois 1028, we're going to be stopped as soon as the light change. So by the time I stop your vehicle, dispatch already knows where I'm at, how many occupants are in the car, they know all that. And if I'm in an unmarked car and I'm doing a traffic stop, you have that right. You can call the dispatch center, and they will inform you. Yes, that is a Sauk police officer. Now, the Sauk police officer is always going to have some of the new thing now. The officers wear them right in front with the badge in the front. You see that? That's real prevalent now. Others have their badge on their belts if they're in plain clothes. But if it's a traffic detail, again, not only are we using fully marked squad cars, but we are using fully uniformed officers as well. I'm sorry. Did you get?
Yeah, he's next.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I hear about how would I know if it's an unmarked car that's behind me wanting me to pull over?
An unmarked squad car, for example, could be a smaller vehicle, gray Taurus, we have a white Taurus. The lights are not on the exterior top of the vehicle. They're actually inside the car, on the interior, either on the windshield or on the dash. But they're not prevalent on the exterior. So you would have to take a second glance at the vehicle to look.
Okay, so
The majority of our unmarked squad cars have municipal license plates. So you'll still see, when you look at the license plate, it'll still have the MP and then the number following afterwards. Not all of our cars. We have cars that, for reasons, for obvious reasons that don't have police plates, obviously.
Oh, so there will be a light. There will be a light. I will see a light in the rear.
Those are not, those vehicles, primary objectives are not traffic stops. So you do have the unusual or the rare circumstances where an unmarked vehicle would be doing a traffic stop. And then it's okay to call dispatch. Say, hey, I'm being stopped. This is a Sauk Village car. And you can always say, if it's not a Sauk Village car, the dispatcher, maybe the officer hasn't called in yet. Maybe the officer's running through its plate and the computer is delayed before it gets to the dispatch center. It could be a Cook County Sheriff's Police. It could be state police. It could be an outside agency. So, but you calling the dispatcher, you're gonna, that'll get a Sauk Village car going. And then you'll see the fully marked squad cars. There's nothing wrong with that. That's reasonable.
Thank you.
Who's
I
next?
think he's
Well, suppose you stop at nighttime, and the unmarked car must have some type of identification, like I said, lights. Would it be a good idea for the one that getting stopped to turn the interior lights on and put the four-ways on?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's an excellent idea. And you do see that a lot, you know. If you're turning on your interior light, it is, you know, it's better for the civilian, it's better for the officer. It illuminates the area. The officer has a greater ability to actually see. And, you know, I'll tell you, I've had some terrifying incidents. People don't realize how terrifying a traffic stop can be. Every officer with a lot of years has been innocent. You know, the guy's in his glove box and he's dealing, and I'm on the radio, and by the time I turn around, he's got that fully loaded 357, and he's telling me my son left us in the car. You know, he didn't have his hands on the gun, but it was all in the manner of the way he retrieved it. You know, him, as opposed to, it could have been somebody who didn't know any better, and they could easily, hey, my son left. You know, it's just, you're talking seconds to respond, and you know, everybody's got to think safety, both the citizen and the officer.
Deputy.
Sir. I'm sorry.
So it would be a good idea to keep your interior lights on.
Absolutely, I would totally recommend that.
And also the four-ways on until the officers come to the car.
That's correct, that's correct.
And when they do come to the car, the lights, if it's an unmarked car, those lights must be reflected.
I'm sorry, are you talking about the oscillating lights, the officer's lights?
This is a requirement that they must be activated.
If the lights are on, that means that the car that you're stopping is not free to leave. That's legal. So it's a temporary detainment. So if I'm behind you and my lights are on, that in the legal terms, you're not free to leave at that point. I have to, you know, I get to check your license, your insurance, stuff like that. So during the traffic stop, the lights should be on. I mean, there's no reason for them not to be on. And it's also, you'll notice, and I know everybody likes it because the officers block traffic, but if your car is here, the officer's car, you notice, will be here. And that is so the officer, the front of this car, and your car will be, you know, the officer will be behind you. His passenger seat should be by your driver's seat. And all that does is it protects the officer. It gives him that cushion to walk where he can't get hit by a car. So if it's a normal traffic stop, the officer's coming up to the driver's side. If there's something and the officer's not feeling, he might come up to the passenger side. If the officer's coming up to the passenger side, he's already on alert for some reason. So that's a good indication, okay, something's not right, but you can easily just put your hands right there on the steering wheel. And then, you know, the officer will come in and be fine. Yes, sir.
Deputy, it's noted I guess once a month we give a police report on the stops in Sauk Village so you can add them up on a year. Is there a time of the month where it's more prevalent to be stopped or to stop someone to where the end of the month is more critical? So everybody should slow down, buckle up, put their guns at home, and things like that, to where it seems to where, I don't check the time of the month, but I notice a lot of vehicles being stopped. And I'm wondering, are these ongoing, are these changeable, are these new people? And at the end of the year, has everybody been stopped at least once?
And you have to have what's called reasonable suspicion to stop a vehicle. It's not probable cause. It's probable cause to make an arrest. It's reasonable suspicion to stop the car. So if you're out and it's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's a Saturday and you just happen to be towing that line or you're driving a little bit, then it's a higher likelihood of getting stopped. Is there a specific number? No. Is there a quota Sauk Village implements? No. Is it high? Is Sauk Village traffic stops high? Yes. Yes. We have a very young department. We're very aggressive department. So, and like I said, traffic stops leads into multiple other things. Proceeds from burglaries, informant, I mean, all kinds of stuff. It opens the door. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have a surplus of officers. We don't do a lot of proactive work, you know, like we do maintain the racial profiling mandates. We document every stop, and we're in compliance, and Sauk Village has never been notified that.
Is that from the 1st to the 15th, or is it rated from the 15th to the end of the month?
There's no specifics.
Yes, see, but, you know, it seems that people,
I mean, if 4 of my younger, more aggressive guys take 2 weeks off of vacation in July, I can tell you that's going to be a slow traffic month for me. I can tell you that.
But you want people that is.
Yeah, but we're not going to advertise. Yes, sir.
Having the right to carry, should I inform my officer so when I pulled over that I'm carrying a weapon?
Okay. Concealed carry. I'm reluctant to get into great detail on this. What time is it?
7:30.
7:30.
I know that there's, in Alaska, you have to tell the officer that you know the.
Okay, concealed carry, you have to inform that officer, but the officer has to ask. You know what I mean? Is it, if you have a weapon in your car or on you and you're legal, it's the best thing to do to tell the officer. Now, officers' response, officers' behaviors varies. It's person to person. Some officers collect the weapon during the traffic stop. And at the end of the traffic stop, they'll return the weapon. Why? I don't know. That to me, I don't understand why you want to be passing around loaded, weapons. Well, absolutely. And every person who knows, not everybody who's ever been through concealed carry knows there's a card, but you can almost carry it nowhere. I mean, if you look at the law, there's not too many places you can carry it that a normal person with an FOID card couldn't carry it. You know, legally in the separated in the case, just loaded into. I mean, this isn't Texas, where it could be right there in the seat of the car. But the law, man, even if you were the passenger and you get stopped by an officer and you have a weapon on you, the officer asks you, are you carrying? In order not to violate your concealed carry permit, you have to say yes. And if the officer takes possession of it, you have to tender it, and then during the end, if you're legal and everything's good and your card hasn't been expired or revoked since after its issuance, the officer will return. Now, it depends. It's officer to officer. You know, that's, I've seen it done 100 different ways. I've seen officers take the holster, so the gun's not out of play. But, you're running into a bad situation. What are you going to do? Okay, here's your ticket. Now he's mad. And then here's your loaded gun. I mean, it varies. It's officer to officer. You got to I have my mentor, Dr. Scott, who's from University Park. He's on the Illinois State Standards Board, and he teaches that course. And he was going to assist me with answering the questions, Ms. Washington, for your group, as you had concealed carry. It's not my expertise, and he's one of the leading experts in it. So, if I can get a future date to answer any in-depth questions about concealed carry, I prefer to turn that over to one of the experts. Yes, ma'am.
You said officer has a valid reason. You may have a valid reason to stop. Why does
Are you talking about a traffic stop?
valid reason to follow you when you like? I mean, follow. I'm talking about blocks.
Well, that could be a variety of things. The most frequent is when you run that license plate, it takes forever to come. So you're stuck following. It's uncomfortable for the officer too, because everybody's looking in the mirror, he's looking back, and you have to wait for that information to come back. Then it comes back, either clear, revoked, it comes back, suspended, But if it's like every other software computer. Sometimes it's running slow, sometimes it comes up right away. Sometimes it takes hours even to get it up on it, and you have to call dispatch. But it could be that. It could be a lot of things. But legally, the officer can follow you as long as they're not doing anything outside the scope of their legal authority.
But I can't just follow you in the middle of the night. We're just because I have a check. And I'm wondering if it's because of my car, because of my plate.
What's wrong with the car with plates?
Nothing wrong with it.
Well, what would bring specific attention to the car for the plates?
Because I don't want someone to know that I'm driving my own car.
Okay, I'm confused how that relates back to the police. Are you talking about the right to wear a cap?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have the right to wear a cap. Cap is not reasonable suspicion to stop a vehicle. Now, if I get a call, you know, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're coming out from the back of the business and you got a cap and sunglasses on, yeah, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna follow you. I guarantee you I'm gonna run the plate. Because even if you're not doing anything, 3 days from now, when that homeowner comes back and says my house, I can go, no, I saw something, but I documented it by running the plate and putting it on there. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna stop you. You know, I could be coming out, if I drive through here, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, there's a car parked at the park, we tell them, hey, you can't be here. We still get the names, the information goes on the car. And then you might not find out 2 weeks, somebody goes in their office and says, oh, my window's broken into here. Somebody came, well now we got the information from way back when. So that's a lot of it is just documenting. And that can be a lot of it, just because, you know, they're not stopping you, doesn't mean they're not documenting. All they're getting is your license plates and all that information, so they haven't need any of that needed in the future. I'm sorry?
Every month, the documents are same car, with a couple of things like that. I'm serious.
Are they stopping you?
No, they just follow.
They're just following?
They can be followed.
Well, that's probably a slow night. They're hungry.
Mine is about a question that's concerning this, and that is the yield of robbery. The particular one that I'm talking about is when you get on 394 and you make a sort of to go around, to get on 30 to go east.
Yes.
Now, when I live in Gilbert, so generally when I come out Private Road, 30 to get on 394.
Right over the overpass.
Right over
Just
there.
there.
I mean, they never stop.
Right.
It's just like a yield or right of way sign is not there. I've learned to yield because I know that if I don't stop, they stop.
Well, is it a yield or is it a merge? I think it's a merge. I'm not 100% sure.
Either one.
A yield means one car has to stop and give way. So if we're yielding, then I have to actually stop and wait till it's clear and then I go. If it's a merge, it's every other car.
Well, I'm thinking it's, here again now. I'm thinking it's a yield of right of way because I made that curve myself. It's a yield of right of way sign that they, coming off the expressway, they yield to the traffic that's going on 30. Right, going east on 30. Again, I've learned to just, look out because I found that you can get run over right there.
Yes.
But they just kind of keep going.
Yes.
So I'm just,
It's also
hard
very
to
bad
say.
area for that ice, that slick ice.
Yes.
It freezes up. It's very bad.
So it is a real problem to me.
It is.
It should be looked at.
I know we did apply for the IDOT, Red Dot, or the traffic lights, and there were some surveys that were done on some of the main hot spots. Torrance and Route 30 was also brought up. The configuration of that intersection is just, I don't know, needs more fully marked turn lanes or something. It's a bad intersection. Yes, sir, you're right, it is a problem. It is. The overpass, unfortunately, is 394, but we agree it is a problem. I'll make sure that the speed cars are clear.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the policy on ticketing cars on property? You know, when they go up on the property and ticket homeowner property. Also, I want to know their policy on pulling cars from homes, if they're not properly ticketed. And also the policy on tolls.
Well, all right, let's take, you're referring, when you say pulling on property, you're referring to like you're driving your private property. Like that. The best way that I can describe it in the legal tense is if your car is accessible, it's on your driveway, but it's accessible, there's no fence, there's nothing that's separating it from the general public. The officers can walk up there, walk around and take it. All right, it's Common Village sticker, it's open game. Maryville, open game. Candlelight Village. So those, we have working contracts with those and your driveway. Now, if you have a fenced-in front yard and it fences in your driveway and your fence, then the officers need, either your permission or whatever to get. Now, if you're fenced in your driveway, the officer can say, hey. If they have to enter the same access to get to your front area, front door, then that's the same as a public entryway. Now, they cannot go in and open up your gates to tow your cars out. But if your car is alleged to have been, you know, here's the good one. The car is being pulled over for a traffic stop and it makes a V line for the driveway. It's not, I'm cool, I'm safe, you know. This is an elementary school. We're going to take your car, you know. If the car is used in the commission of the crime, it's fair game. The officers have the right and the legal responsibility to tow the vehicle. If the drivers run into the house, the officer can follow the individual into the house, meaning that the door can be kicked down. It's called hot pursuit. Now here's where you lose hot pursuit. Here's where the officers they run, the guy runs in, they stop. Oh, what do I do? Let me call my sergeant. No, we lost hot pursuit. If you got time to make a phone call, you lost it. You're done. Hot pursuit means just that. You're in the pursuit. So just everybody be aware. Running into your door, slamming your door, door's open. You know, obviously it should be something more than a traffic stop. I mean, you know, it's within reason. It is the key element. Everything has to be within reason. Does the officer have the legal authority to do it? Yes. Do we encourage the officers to do it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you know where they're living and you know who the car is, pick up the phone. Oh, hey, Junior, you're not gonna believe what he just did. Let the parents turn him in, you know. So, but it's officer discretion. And does the law back them up doing it? Yes, absolutely. What I do, no. Does anybody have a question? Did I clear up that private property, public domain stuff? Okay.
Yes, a question over.
Yes, sir.
As a proactive measure, this nighttime, a car pulls in front of your home, drives away, comes back, drives away. At what point do you need to inform the police? Or at what point is there a need for the police?
Okay. In Sauk Village, things that we see a repeated pattern on is that has shown to be an indication they're looking to see if you are home or the times you're going to be home. Another big indication is there'll be a juvenile or another individual on a bicycle on the streets or at the corner. And then you have 2 or 3 other individuals with book bags, you know, middle of July. And they don't text. Everybody's texting. So the lookout has just taken a whole new level. Now you got the guy on the bike who's the lookout way over there, and the burglars are way over there. So, I mean, it's a complex game, you know, and they have the advantage. The only way we win that game is when the neighbors are all, hey, there's this guy on a bike in front of your house for 10 minutes. That's how you win. That's the only way you're going to catch birds. I mean, we might get lucky, and we do. We catch them. Unfortunately, they're juveniles. And you can't even detain them. You can bring them in, you take their prints, and I have to mail their paperwork for them to go to court. And I mean, really, I've seen one juvenile have as many as 19 burglaries before they incarcerated him for the weekend. For the weekend. And he was back on. And it's a game we play until they hit, that magical age. Or then when they start driving. Then it's a whole new ballgame. See, when they start driving and they get pulled over, they're like, oh, well, remember when? Oh, you want a little professional courtesy now. Let's go talk to all your neighbors. You know? So we have to play by the rules, and unfortunately they do not. So, but you guys, you know, you see somebody come in your house, somebody pulls in your driveway and they turn back and they leave immediately, I would definitely give a look at the car. Okay, it was an older car, blue car. Tell your spouse, tell somebody, you know what, just the car turned around and drive it. Now, if you see it come back a second time, you should be calling police. You gotta call police on that. And even if we don't find the car, you might be, I mean, we put all that stuff on board. And you know, we got an aggressive crew. They play games. Okay, who catches that car up on that bolo, you know, is buying the whatever. Or, you know, you're buying the hot wings for Super Bowl. I mean, they're aggressive, they'll do it. So, but if that information isn't coming into us, then we're not able to get it to them. So call. If it's the same car twice, call. That's unreasonable. That's not a reasonable, that's reasonable suspicion from each side. You've been in his driveway 2 times and you don't live there. Yes.
Becky, I was in my house minding my own business a couple months ago.
Oh, this is starting out, right?
And one of your fine officers came and rang my bell to let me know that my postman had damaged my mailbox. And so he had to complete a police report. I asked him for a copy. He told me that he couldn't give me a copy just then, but that he would mail it to me. He never mailed it to me.
We don't mail police reports first. That's I'm betting.
Tell you what happened. And so then I finally went to the police station. I requested a copy. They couldn't give it to me that day, but they said that I needed to sign up for it and pay them $5, and then they'll make a copy for me. Is that standard?
Yes, unfortunately. There is a tedious process with police reports. So what happens is our officers jump from call to call to call. So when an officer comes in, he might go on this call, then he'll go on this call, then he'll go on this call. And of course you have to stagger your breaks. His breaks here, his breaks here, his breaks here. You have to go to this, you have to do this, walk through this business, there's a special watch here. So they're assigned, plus they're looking, plus they're doing traffic. So what happens is, if an officer goes to your house and he takes a criminal damage to property report, there's 2 different types of reports. There's traffic related, and then there's like a general police report for non-traffic related. Now your mailbox was damaged. How did he run it over?
He ran into the back of it, and it's ugly. I don't want anybody to come to my house.
Traffic related. So what happens is he's writing a traffic incident. That's a separate pre-printed report. So he fills out the boxes. Then from there, he has all the officers' reports have to be completed before their set days off. So if they're working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, come Friday, all the reports have to be completed. So if he takes your report Monday, and this is, we can't have them in the station doing the reports, or there's really just not going to be any control. So the officer has to the end of the week, before his 2 days off he has to have everything done at that point in time. He can't go home and be gone for 2 days and not have the reports done. So let's say your officer comes in and he writes that report. He has to tender that report to his shift supervisor, his sergeant. So now you have days off and all that. So the sergeant comes in, when he gets that report, he reviews it. Whatever errors, you didn't do this, you didn't get the insurance, phone call check showed the guy's insurance is actually not valid, goes back to the officer. The officer comes in, he has to make his corrections, he has to send it back. Sergeant gets it again. This time it's okay, everything's on, it's right. He signs, he authorizes it, he approves it. Now it has to go to the records division. From the records division, it goes into the database system and all that, the world of records. You have to hold it for 8 years. I mean, the laws that govern the records. Ooh. So after all that, we tell citizens an average of about 14 days. If it's a police report that we know you need immediately, will you work with your insurance companies? We get calls, we do that. There's no, if you have a pending court case, those reports are already there. And the case is, if you get a body, if I arrest this individual, I have him in custody, and he's going to market, all this paperwork has to go over your accident, because I have to have his paperwork to go with the body, otherwise they won't take it. Sauk Village, we try not to house people. It's a huge liability. Prisoners, or subjects do all kinds of crazy things when incarcerated. I've seen a lot of weird stuff. So you got to get them in and get them out. You just don't want to hold that liability. You don't want to house the body. The $5 is, I've been here 22 years and it's been $5 for 22 years. I don't know the history of how it got. I'm assuming it's to offset the expense of having, you know, have the records clean. You know, you have to print it, you have to, you know, there's resources involved in maintaining that and providing that service. And I, you know, other than, you know, that would be my guess. That would be my, you know, the cost is $5. Other than that, you know, I'm not sure. To be honest with you, have your insurance company pay the $5. We get hundreds of those every day. There's not, it's very often, or it's not very often that a citizen needs a police report, unless they want it for their own personal record, which you're entitled to. And that might be another reason for $5. But every criminal case, when his paperwork goes with him, it's already at the courthouse. If you're charged and you're let go, you bond out, when you go to court, your paperwork's already at the courthouse. When I petition that juvenile that's doing that burglary, his paperwork is mailed in, he's petitioned, all that stuff is at the courthouse. So having a physical, you know, when somebody comes to the window and says, well, I got court tomorrow, I need the police report. We already know, it's not there right now. So,
Okay, we're going to take one more question. I really appreciate the deputy coming out. I know she's a little tired. She knows she's going to talk to us all. And I just want to take one question from somebody that hasn't asked a question yet. Is anyone, first I'm going to give that person, anyone that hasn't asked a question, would they like to ask one? Okay, and this will be the last one. After that, we can move on with phase 2.
I would just like to ask you a question. Let's say you pull up your for a ticket, have a ticket.
for a traffic offense.
Right. But say some people that may not understand, what is the attitude that would help me to convince you not to give them a ticket?
You know what, the harder, you know, that is an excellent question. I tell my family, one red flag right away, you drop a name. I know so-and-so on the police department. Now I'm thinking, I gotta cover my butt. I gotta make sure that I document, I had a legal reason to stop you. Because now, I might get some backlash on this. Or if you're telling the officer, you have, you know, I'm gonna have your job, the officer's thinking, he ain't here, he's there, I'm gonna cover my backside. I'm gonna document the reason I had to stop you, who I stopped, what time I stopped, who was in the car, and this, that, and the other. And what is the best way to do that? The traffic ticket. You just check the boxes. Right there. It's all the information on you. It's forever in the archives. If you get pulled over, the hardest person, 9 times out of 10 I can't write, is the individual that says, regularly. I have never been able to bring myself to write that. Unless, I do tell you, unless there's a child not in an infancy. Then I write that ticket because, you know, if anybody else would like to come help me scoop up at that infant, you'd write that ticket. After you do that the first couple times, you'll write that.
What did the officer want to stop you? And he tells you, he stopped somebody before he stopped you. He gave her your ticket. So he came to my house and changed my date and said that he stopped her first before he stopped me and gave her my ticket, but you hadn't stopped me yet.
Well, I don't even understand how that would happen. If he hadn't stopped you yet, how did he go to your house?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
There's red flags all over that. That whole story's not making any
He
sense.
stopped me, and
Well, so he did stop you.
6 hours, he came back 8 hours later to my house and told me that he stopped somebody before me and gave her my ticket. So he came to my house 8 hours later to change my ticket.
Yeah, you know what? That is officer error. That's what that is.
Okay.
That's officer error. What that is when the officer writes the ticket, you rip them out, you give the copy, he's putting them on in his bag, or he's putting them on the passenger seat. Well, what I do is I roll them up in the driver's license, well, down the side, but you know, or you roll them up and then you just put them on the visor. And at the end of the ship, when you got to come in, you got to log all that paperwork. What happened was he ripped it out and put there. He was probably distracted, radio, whatever he was doing, he or she, I don't know. And they grabbed the wrong tickets. At some point, either your traffic stop, obviously the other traffic stop, because he gave them your information. So at some point in time, he mixed up the tickets.
He didn't say he gave me information. He said he stopped her first. Although he had quotes.
We don't have quotes.
Well, that's what
Okay, I just want to say thank you, Deputy Chief. You gave us a real good insight. Took the time out, this is what it's about, to come out and talk to the residents. The police have always been, they've always had a badge. At least she came out to inform and to enlighten and to answer questions. That's what the administrator is for, and that's what I'm so glad to have her as our Deputy Chief. Thank you so very much. Now, we go into the next phase. There's going to be another question and answering period, but we're going to relate to other things other than the police department. So if anyone wanted to start asking questions or concerns that you have with the village, please raise your hand. Yes, ma'am. I don't have one. I'm going to ask that we take the mic and pass it to each other when we need to do that.
Excuse me, what I'd like to know, I've been living out here for 5 years, well actually 6, and I've been trying to get my curb cut. The thing is that the curb has just gotten higher and higher where it's ripping the bottom from under the cars. I was told that if I do it myself, there's I guess a fee involved for someone to come out and inspect it, and so on and so forth. So I don't understand it, but bottom line is, how do I manage to get this done, and who do I need to talk to get it done?
Okay, you're talking about your driveway, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Usually when your driveway starts to rise, I mean your street in front of it started to wash out and it started to lower. It went down. We go on I guess the most proper thing to say is the need more basis. In other words, whichever area is needed, we repair that. I was trying to start something a few years ago called the 50-50, where you would pay half, but it wasn't for curbs, it was for sidewalks. We get money from CDBG, but that money goes to areas that are distressed. You may not live in one of those areas, so therefore we have to wait until we get the MFT money, which is also done to repair the streets, and yours may not be as bad as someone's down the street or around the corner or whatever. So it's not that they don't do it, but it's just a process of getting the worst ones done first. As far as you doing it yourself, they have to do the street. It's a matter of not them shaving your driveway down or your curb down. It's bringing the street back up to the level where it needs to be. So that's going to take a minute. Like I said, repair the streets, MFT money, CDBG money comes in areas that are distressed that need a certain income. And that's throughout Illinois, period, and not just in Sauk Village. Only thing I can tell you, I wouldn't even say, Public Works is well aware of all those streets and all those, but they're fixing the ones, and the companies that you see are fixing the ones that need the most repair. I don't know, maybe if you want, which is just a quick fix, you can put a patch down there of asphalt and roll it out yourself. It's not that expensive. However, when the snow truck comes by, they're gonna knock it right back up. Depends on what time of year it is. So that's a good question, but unfortunately, it's not as bad as someone down the street or another neighborhood where it needs to be done. Did that help you? Did that help?
No.
What do you want? I mean, I'm just telling you straightforward. That's all that can be done. That's all that can be done. I mean, because we go around, we patch holes as need be. But I'll tell you right now, when it's cold out or snow out or ice out, you patch that hole. As soon as another snowfall comes, it's going to pop it right back up. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what is the status of the water here in Sauk Village? The piping, the renewal, or anything, because it's awful. It is awful to the skin when you take your showers as a woman. I don't know how the other females, or what they're feeling in terms of how their skin is responding to the water, but for me as a woman, I mean, there's flakes. I've never experienced this before of my skin. the face bowl, the new face bowl, within the 2 years, the hot water knob will not even turn now because the water is so hard on the faucet, and it's an expensive faucet, and the water has just destroyed the knob per se to turn. It's so hard, it takes like 2 people to turn it. It's not even worth turning at this point because of the fact that it's so hard. We risk possibly breaking the knob itself. So bottom line is, it's a replacement because I have someone to come look at it and gonna have to get a new face bowl as a result of that. Same thing with the water tank of the toilet. You know, the rust. It's a Kohler. If you're familiar with the product Kohler, that's an expensive face bowl.
Yes.
So, with that being said, what has been done since 2 years ago, maybe, of moving forward of the water for Sauk Village? Where do we stand at this point? We need some answers.
Okay, first of all, we had a problem back in 2009, and then we also had a problem in, I think it was 2011 and 12, where we were asked to take certain distribution centers offline. In 2009, we were asked to take well 3 offline. Now, since that time, and that was due to vinyl chloride. Since that time, the vinyl chloride, which was mandated by the government, and we had to go out and get strippers. We do have air strippers now. We have permanent air strippers. But what you want to know comes out of your faucet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's iron. That's your minerals, that's iron. We just put in, well, 2, there'll probably be 3 new iron out sources in each distribution, each 2 wells. We have 3 wells. Will that take care of that? No, not completely. It's still well water. We still treat it. You're still going to get that sediment in there because well water has a lot of minerals in it. Minerals, I was told, are supposed to be good for you, but as you stated and as everyone here knows, that sometimes it's not good for you because it doesn't look good. The smell you smell is the sulfur that has to go in there to kill the bacteria that's in the water. That's what you smell. Only way to get rid of all of that is to get a different water source. Right now, you know, we're taking care of our distribution center with air strippers. To get a different water source, what I mean by a different water source, Lake Michigan water, some people say Chicago water, but it's really Lake Michigan water, to bring that in here. However, you bring Lake Michigan water into the pipes that you're talking about, you're going to still have a problem because you still got that water coming in under the same pipes and the same sediment that's there. So what you're going to end up doing, you may get water for a minute until all that stuff breaks away, you're going to still get that again. Only way to alleviate that is to repair or replace all of your arteries that are in the village. That's very costly.
However, the water is still, when you pay your water bill, those bills are still being elevated. So,
well, you're right. We went from $3.50 to $7.50. The first $2 that we went up was in order for us just to catch up, just to maintain, because we've been so far behind and we never raised the bills in a timely manner. They should have been raised at least every 2 years, or at least every 2 years. But ideally, every year maybe 25 or 30 cents because of inflation. But we had to bring it to $5.50. We just broke even with our personnel. For the other $2, and it was on the referendum, was to pay for the air strippers. Was to pay that, because we were mandated, we are mandated, that we have to get the air strippers to take the vinyl chloride out. So that was what that was for. A lot of people voted for Lake Michigan water, but it was told at that time it's going to cost. $7.50 is not going to be the price to bring Lake Michigan water. And I don't know where we got the rumor from that it was going to be, we can get Lake Michigan water now at $7.50. No, that's not going to happen. A lot of people have gone into getting softeners and things like that, but even with, well, it works a little bit because it takes some of that iron out of your water. You'll never take the taste out because of the sulfur, unless you have reverse osmosis. And after that point, reverse osmosis takes away everything, even the stuff that's supposed to be in there to kill the bacteria. That's why your reverse osmosis tank's only 5 gallons. But that tank is sitting there with no chemicals in it, nothing in there to fight off bacteria. So that's the reason why you only have a 5-gallon tank in your reverse osmosis system. And you don't run anything more than that because now, you know, bacteria and things like that set up. But right now, that's where we're at. We do have new piping in our distribution center. We have a new iron out system, but it's all for the well water. Right now, in order for us to go further, we're going to have to come back to the public and ask for another increase. I'm just want to make sure that you're okay with that. I mean, I'm just telling you that I know you're not.
To be honest,
okay.
no, I'm not okay with that because as a female, I'm serious. We have health issues with our bodies. That's the concern. As a female,
Males too.
Well,
Any human being has concerns because of, you know, you're looking at a water that's coming out of your pipe orange. Or you're looking at your tank inside your toilet and you see the buildup. But like I said before, that's mineral buildup. If you go to a friend's house that lives anywhere else that's getting Lake Michigan water, you're going to see sediment in there too. You're going to see something. May not be as much as you see here, but you're going to see something because that's the nature of the beast, because the water does have minerals in it. But it may not be as hard as ours. It may not smell like Lake Michigan. like the well water that we have. But everyone has to treat their water.
but if I take a shower in Chicago and I take a shower here in Sauk Village, I have to take a shower for like weeks to get the soot or whatever this stuff that sticks to your skin off. You can see it on the towels. If you take a white towel and you're washing your body, it takes weeks for that to come off. Layers and layers that's embedded into your skin. That's just on the surface. You're brushing your teeth with this stuff. You're washing with this stuff. And
But
we need.
I mean, and you're right, but like I was saying before, softener would take a lot of that away. A softener would take away a lot of that because that's your water is hard. Well water is hard. I'm not saying that you should, well, it's up to you, but if you got a softener in your home, you will see a difference. Not saying that, we'll charge you for water, you should need to get a softener too. However, that basically is what it is. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, I'm just telling you the truth. That's basically what it is. If you had a softener, because I do have one, it will take that away. It won't take the smell away, but if you won't have that problem, then you have to make sure that your softener is calibrated correctly, because sometimes you can come out as black people, you have white skin because you have too much salt. You have ashy skin. But you have a dial on your softener that you can dial up and down to the brand. So, I mean, that's one of the bad things, that's one of the drawbacks.
Bad things, yes.
Correct, drawbacks of well water, but that's just the way it is. Okay. Want to give them the
You made a statement. Dollars. Are you saying that Sauk Village will never get Lake Michigan water? So we can all understand that would be the goal.
You didn't hear me say that we would never. I said at this point, at the price that we're paying right now, we would almost have to double that to get Lake Michigan water, because there's so many steps involved to make that happen.
At this point, from what we're hearing, we're paying exorbitant prices right now for bad water.
You're wait a minute there. You're embellishing. Exorbitant is relative. It's not necessarily, I mean, what you want to go back to what we were paying, and then we can't afford to have our people on the street. I mean, right now gasoline is what, $1.85, $1.90? We're going to go back up. It's going to go back up. Don't just think that you're going to live like this. It's not that we needed to get to $5.50 just to break even.
You made a proposal at a meeting, and I believe that you were questioning the $2.50 additional over the $5 that was proposed, and what can be done with that $250? Is there any chance of a reimbursement? Because the water seems like it's not going to change, and yet we're paying this price. Let's try to give the people back something.
Okay, let me explain. Well, I don't have to explain to you, you're older than I am, so you understand. Let me just enlighten you. First of all, just like taxes, they raise taxes. They're not going to decrease taxes, and if they do, they'll find a way for it. So they're not going to give you anything back. If you pay an X amount of money for taxes right now, you're going to pay X amount of money next year. You may pay a little bit more, but you're not going to get any. It's not like a tax refund. You're not going to get a tax refund on your taxes. However, what I asked was to take the $2 that we're paying. If we're going to get this loan, this grant from the government, take the $2 that we're paying and put it into a separate fund. Not give it back, because we need the money. Put it into a separate fund, earmarked for what she was talking about. When we get enough money, then we can go with another step. We can go forward with that. If we save $2 per household, every month or whatever it is, we'll have a few million in a few years. That is enough money to go forward. But at least the people are seeing that we put this money into an account. You have X amount, just like you do at church. You got a building fund. Well, this is not a building fund, this is a water fund. And you put that money to the side so you can have a bubble if you want to show where we're at. That money will not be spent for anything but for improvements to go forward with Lake Michigan Water. That was my proposal. Not to give it back. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I'm looking to give money back, because then I would be telling you a lie. So we need it, but we can put it in the bank. $1 million gets a lot of interest over a year or two. So.
Where's it going now?
I'll answer that.
Where is the, you talking about the extra money? It's going into the water fund account. It's going into the water fund account. I mean, it's not earmarked for anything, it just goes to the water fund account. You want to get it back? Because I'm not going to do it like that. But the water fund is basically for the water and sewer. That's what you pay, water and sewer. We have a separate fund for that. And that money stays in that fund.
Okay, you said that when we get money from the government, right?
I said when we get a loan, we were supposed to get a grant. Supposed to get a grant.
About a few months ago, give or take, if I'm not mistaken, Governor P.L.A.N came out here. He said something about $4.some million for the help of our water and food. What happened about that money?
Okay. You said a few. You said.
Well, it was probably.
Okay. Now, wait a minute. I understand what you're saying. You came out and he announced that he was giving Sauk Village a $4.8 million grant to repay the loan that we went out and got for $4.8 million of forgiveness. Okay. Right now, Quinn's not in office.
That's beside the point.
But you asked me, wait a minute now, you asked me about where is, what happened. Is that what you said?
Yes, so you telling me just because he said it, he didn't give it then when he said he was giving it?
Well, it takes more than, I can say checks in the mail. I mean, but it goes a little bit more complicated than that. You submit paperwork and things like that. That money would not come and go in our coffers. That $4.8 million will not be in the checking account, and we go out there and pull it out. It's not there. That's not how a grant works. A grant works once you submit paperwork saying that you spent $4.8 million, then that's when the grant will pay it off. They're not there to make it, that grant's not your piggyback. So you can't go outside and need a little bit.
Why did you let him come here?
Pardon me?
Why did you let him?
No, hold
That should be a statement.
Hold it, just one second.
What you saying is he was
But you said,
looking forward for it. I was looking for it.
I understand that, but you do understand politics too. So it's not a matter of him coming here. You're not gonna stand outside and say, no, governor, you can't come in. Unless you give me a check, that's not gonna happen.
You should have told me you shouldn't lie, then, or you shouldn't lie.
He didn't lie. He didn't lie, man. He didn't lie. But he didn't lie. He meant what he said.
My name is
Miss Bernie said, you know, I'm really passionate about this Sauk Village water, lake fishing thing. And the bottom line, like the lady said, a couple years ago, we had told residents came to this board. You guys act like you didn't know that the water was contaminated. You didn't know the water was contaminated. So at that point, we also told you if you raise the water rate, you told residents that the quality of water will not change, which it hasn't. The groundwater beneath well 3 is still contaminated and will not change. And now they're taking $2 extra every month to put whatever. However, the mayor told me personally the other day that the water leakage has gone down from whatever, and he didn't give me an exact figure, and we can't get it unless, it's down to a certain amount of level of water leakage, short. It has to get down to a single digit. So now that we've taken the $2, we want to know what Plan B is to fix it. We're not getting any money from around, so you guys might go on forget that.
I won't say that.
I'm saying that Plan B, what is it? You're taking this $2, where are you putting it? The water fund is being used for everything else except for water-related matters. And we're still stuck with paying twice as much for contaminated to treat contaminated water, which will not change. What we need to do is change the infrastructure. We want to know where's Plan B to fix that infrastructure so we can get some decent water here. Because we pay big time money. I don't know, I live in Deer Creek, so we pay big time money on their taxes. So we want to know what's going on with the infrastructure too. Now, the mayor told me that, and I quote him, he said, well, repairs are being made, residents can't see them. I like to be in this, I like to know where my money's going. So, yes, nobody can tell me the infrastructure is being repaired, but they're taking our money. It's not being accounted for. We're paying twice as much for contaminated water. The water is not the same thing as been before, and we treat contaminated water. The bottom line is it's not going to change. This administration is not doing anything for the people in relationship to water. We voted for, they're doing everything else with the water money except for infrastructure improvement. This is all we put the money into wells free. We didn't ask you to put the money into wells 1 and 2. We asked you to put money aside to look for ways to fix the water. Even though we know we need the wells fixed. If they're fixed, let's go on to something else. What's Plan B? Where's all that money going?
Okay, now.
So I'm asking.
I know, I'm just saying, I just wanted, I don't write things down, I try to remember as much as I can. First of all, that's what I asked that I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned it before, what we should do with the extra $2. But so far right now, all due fairness, we still need that money because it may, point A and point B may not equal to C, which means we may not get the money. So if we do something with that money, I don't know. I can't tell you that. I wish I could, because I don't know. I know what was said. I know that it was said that all expenditures, let's just say life-threatening, have been put on hold. If I had been, I'd done the same thing, because at the very end, things were added that didn't necessarily be until I weed everything out. I wouldn't do that. However, as far as taking that money and doing anything else with it right now, that money the extra $2 was used to pay that loan off. That's why I was stating that once that happens, we should put that money set aside, and like I just got to stated, to use that money after we save it for a year, start doing improvements. That's what we should do. Well, right, at this point in time right now, we're using it for something else, and the loan has not come due yet because we're still extracting money from using the money for the loan. But I just want to go back to something and I've talked to you about this before, but I just want everybody to understand. Every month we have to take a water test. We have to send it into IEPA. You used to work for IEPA, you understand. Okay. Well, but we have an obligation, because we have our own well, to monitor our well and send in our samples. If they didn't pass, then you will get a board order, which people have from time to time in the village got a board order. The samples are taken out of different parts in the village, also out of people's homes. They go to people's homes and you agree to be a a test or whatever, and they take it out. If that water was contaminated, it would shut that quadrant down or whatever the case. We cannot operate and say contaminated water. Yours contaminated, mine's not. It's not contaminated. It doesn't taste good, it looks bad, and it smells, and it's got a color, but it's not contaminated. If it was contaminated, then you know, you would have, it would shut us down. But now, I just want to say, go ahead.
I need to clarify something. All the water is now contaminated. What we're doing with the airstrip is treat the contaminated water.
No.
Yes, we are.
No, we're taking the air strippers, take the vinyl, no, they don't.
And stripping it.
No, the air strippers, I do know a little, just a little bit about this.
I worked 33 years.
Okay, but the air strippers take out the vinyl chloride, which is in the, we're not, okay, we're treating the water that's in there with chemicals to take away the bacteria and things like that. Vinyl chloride is a contaminant. And what you're doing is what we do is take that contaminant out before it gets to the distribution. We take it out, store it into a storage tank with filters, and then from that point, after it gets to the filters, it goes out to well, first it gets treated with chemicals, and then it goes out to the big. Well, you have to treat all water, though, Bernice. You got to treat. You have
That's
to.
what I just said. We treat contaminated water. We paying twice as much before when we did in 2008. We want to move on to something else.
No, but I mean, you're right. What are we going to do? I mean, you're a taxpayer. You were very adamant about the water. Okay, if it's not done the way that you should, then that's why the people come out and say, hey, I'm paying for it. I thought we were going to move forward to Lake Michigan water, but no, it's not happening right now. We got too many other things that has to be done before that can happen. I've said that many times, that right now, you know, we have other things to take care of before, because to get Lake Michigan water is going to cost you about $15, $16 per gallon. And I just said that. I said you got to double what you got. Yes.
Is there a project list for infrastructure repairs?
Okay, infrastructure repairs?
So, water pipes?
Okay, now, you're right. We had a service to come out here and let us know where our water main breaks are. They let us know where the water main breaks are, so we do know where they're at. We're trying to address them, but in the meantime, others, the ones that are really breaking, we got to take care of those first.
So that's what the priority is?
The priority financially would be one that's actually broken right now. And then after that, as money comes available, we start digging down to take care of water main break. Usually a water main break costs about $1,700 to $2,500 per. By the time you put a sleeve on it, dig down and do everything else, put the manpower and everything like that. So, you know, it's not that cheap. That's just a break.
Just a small piece.
I'm not talking about replace. Yes, they are. They repair. They're not replacing the whole pipe unless that whole pipe is that bad. But right now what they're doing is put a sleeve on it. Unless they can go back to the joint where it is there, and then you can do that one line, but then that's just one line. You got to dig up maybe 60, 70 feet. So, because your water flows down your street and then the arteries off to each home. So,
Trustee Burke.
Yes, sir.
My name is Cecil Tate. The governor has recently put a hold on non-essential funding. So what does that mean with regards to infrastructure repairs? And in addition to that, I'm sure Robinson Engineering probably has some projects for Sauk Village. Will those projects be put on hold so we don't go further in the hole, in the red on our budget?
Let me take the last one first. Further in the red on the budget, we're in the red. So I don't know what further means unless right now, because we haven't gotten all our money that we're supposed to get at this particular point in time. So right now we are operating in deficit until such time, but we don't know, as they say, at such time we money up.
Yeah, but we don't know when the government's going to release that.
No.
So we're going to be in the red.
Well, you're going to be, just like anything else, it's supposed to be released. The money's promised us. This is not just the governor's money. This is tax money that we're due. This is tax money, property tax money that's due, which we counted on. This is part of the budget. We add up everything, all the revenue, this is what it is, and we're supposed to do the budget according to what we got coming in. And maybe sometimes you can estimate, I like to estimate a little low, just like right now, we got that problem. But right now, we're hoping, like everybody, we're not the only one, Sauk's not the only one, all the municipalities out here are hurting. That's why you have a contingency plan. So I have a plan B that in case it doesn't come in, what you're gonna do.
And that's my question with regards to the infrastructure. If the money for non-essentials is held by the governor for the next year or two, because it's non-essential to him, what are we going to do for the infrastructure?
With the property tax and the non-essentials are two different taxes. Property taxes due us, that's automatic. What you're talking about, a program that he promised, program that you applied for years and years ago, program that you said, okay, I want to do this and do that, that's what is being held up. Your program, your whatever it is that you have shovel-ready things that they promised they were going to take care of, those are the things that are put on hold. They can't put your property tax on hold. So that's not possible. Yes, sir.
Yes, Trustee Burgess.
Well, you got, where's the mic? Okay, go ahead. Y'all pass that back, please.
Yes, Trustee Burgess. The village has $843,542 in bills sitting in a drawer somewhere that had not been paid. As you know, the budget calls for transfers of funds from the water fund to the general fund, which were an arbitrary transfer. They weren't allocated to any specific thing. It was just to balance the budget. We're told last week that the police chief can't get his cars fixed because the vendors aren't willing to work with the village in getting that done because they're not getting paid. My question is this a reasonable way to run a village government? You know, on anticipating money that's coming in and not essentially paying as you go, like it used to be done?
Okay, now, let me try to answer that in an intelligent way. I can't sit here and second guess what another person should do. I can only do what it would be what I would do. When you have a budget and you see that you're supposed to get X amount of money in, say for instance, just to throw a number out there, you're supposed to get $15 million in, and that's what you're looking to get $15 million. You plan your budget accordingly. Me, myself, I would plan it at 14, just in case I got $1 million floating that I can use for unexpected costs that may arise during that year's time. However, if the money doesn't come in, then yes, I'm in the hole. I'm in the hole because the money didn't come in. It's not my fault the money didn't come in, but it didn't come in. So I can't hold a person responsible. Only thing I can do is at a point in time when I look out over my accounts payable and I see that a certain accounts payable is over, you can't order anything. You can pay payroll and that's it. But as far as if you have other problems, you need to address those before they happen. Don't tell me that you can't get the cars done and you knew that the cars were messed up or whatever the case may be before time. You as a department head, you're responsible for your budget. Your your $3 million, whatever it may be, doesn't mean you can spend $3 million July 1st. And then the rest of the year you skate. You spend it accordingly. That's why you have a readout to give you a percentage of how much you spend. If you see that you're over, there should be somebody there to say, hey, I know that you want tires, I know that you want this and that, but right now the money hasn't come in, we can't do that. So don't go out there and get something and try to come back and say, I need you to pay for this. So that's your job as a department head to monitor what money that you have. And I asked that question yesterday, who gives the okay to go over? Has to be someone saying that you can go over. Because if you budgeted $10,000 for something and you're over 8,000, you get 18 there, at what point would you gonna say that's enough? And if you let each and every person do that, that's when you come up with your deficit. And that's how it happens.
And as a follow-up question to that, you as the liaison to the finance, that is not saying that you are over the finance director because you yourself cannot fire him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank
Who's
you.
up? Okay. Okay.
I just have one final question in regards to the flushing, and I'm not sure how that works. To let people know, and maybe just on my area because I don't know, but say if you don't know, ask. So I'm asking now in terms of the flushing, when you all do the flushing, is there some way that the people can know ahead of time that that area is going to be flushed so that you're not caught in between of being in the shower or, you know, whatever, you're washing dishes, and then all of a sudden this brown stuff comes out and et cetera, et cetera. Is there a better way to plan to let people know when it's going to be done? I feel that there's a better way for it to be known to the people of the village.
It should be that we have signs that we put out in the neighborhood. And also, we put signs out. Also, you can come up to Village Hall or get a Sauk talk and find out, because there is a schedule for the north and south side of the village, and then separate quadrants. We have 4 quadrants. So there's a sign. They do it at night. Now, to give you a little heads up, if that happens, and you do get that sign, or you get that pamphlet, or you get that notice that you're going to flush yours that particular night, before you do anything that next morning, first thing you should do is go upstairs or wherever and turn on your cold water. Turn on all your faucets for about 2 or 3 minutes to get that sediment out. Don't turn your hot water on, because what happens with the hot water, you're bringing cold water into your hot water tank, which will bring all that sediment that's in there. You don't want that, because now it rusts out your, and that's not just our water, that's everybody's water. It'll do that. So what you want to do is turn your cold water on, let it run for 2 or 3 minutes, let it run clear. Then you can turn your hot water on. That will be the next day, and the same thing with washing. And you think they got water because when we flush, we stir up the sediment. That's the reason for you stirring it up, trying to get as much as you can out of that particular pipe. And that's what it's for. Same thing when you go to the gas station. You see the tanker out there getting ready to put gas in there, go to another station, because he's stirring everything up in there and gets inside your car. Okay. Well, we got just a few more minutes, but Bernice, can I? Huh? Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying, does anybody else have any? Okay. I just want to try to get some newer people involved. Oh, okay, ma'am.
I don't know, is it legal for Sauk Village to go back 2 years and bill you for water that they estimated?
2 years.
Do you? Okay. I understand. I think I did talk to you. Okay. Is it legal to go back 2 years? My question is, the bill that you got, is it a 2-year bill or just a bill for right now? I mean, how can they go, you're right, how can they go back 2 years and bill you, and you've been living there for 2 years, unless you didn't receive a bill for 2 years?
Well, I've been there since '92.
Okay. So how can they go back 2 years and bill you?
That's what I asked them.
Okay, no, that's not feasible. They can't go back and bill you. How can they? I mean, no, that doesn't even know.
But she said I was getting water that I wasn't paying for because the bill was estimated, and I asked her how
Oh, you were paying.
how to estimate my bill.
If it was estimated, you were still paying.
I was still paying.
Yes, you were.
They billed me, but now she wants to go back.
But what was the reason that they estimated you in the first place?
It was a piece broke, and they said it wasn't registered where the
Piece broke where? In the water meter?
on my meter.
On your meter. So it wasn't calibrated correctly, correct?
That's what they're saying, but it was kind of in my house.
So how could they?
Turn the water on, you can see the meter running, you know, the little.
Yeah.
And he said one piece, he came in and taped it up or whatever it is. And this, so she's saying now that it's working right, this is how they're billing. So I asked her, how you know about 2 years for the month, because I think the bill, wait a minute, what the bill is? She said,
While you're looking for that, can I ask you, every bill for 2 years, did it have estimate on there?
no, I didn't see estimate on it. The last, I think, 6 or 7 months, I noticed.
Does it have estimate?
Here is for, I think it was January, December,
Yeah.
January.
Okay.
And I couldn't pay it. That's
Yeah.
why I asked her why, was the bill estimated. So she said, I'm gonna send somebody out.
Okay.
They sent a man out and he worked on it. So the next bill came out, it was like $700 and some dollars. Ooh, Lord. So I went to ask her, how you billed me $700? And this is only a 2-month bill.
But they told
She
you.
said, now your meter's working right. I said, well, working right, how can that meter go back 2 years?
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. So now they told you, you was told that the reason why your bill was X amount of money is because it was estimated, and the reason why it was estimated that the meter wasn't working correctly.
Correct.
Okay. I suggest that you, after the meeting tonight, the mayor's back there, you need to have a meeting with him. And, you know, I don't want to answer that question falsely, but I'll just give you this advice. Why now are you just finding out that my meter is not working correctly? What if I didn't say that for 10 years? You're going to go back 10 years? So I'm just asking, I'm just giving you that type of advice to go and find out, because if they're going to estimate your bill, then they should have a reason why. Some people don't let them in. There's some people out here that don't have a motion meter. In other words, you can drive by and you can pick up. They have to actually go and read. Those people, if they can't get into your house, they have to estimate your bill. Because they can't get in, so they got to send you an estimator. But if your bill, if they can drive by and pick up your signal, they can't pick your signal up. They're supposed to be able to come into your house and call you and let you know to set up an appointment so they can come in and read your meter. But to estimate your bill for 2 years without any reason, yes, you need to find that out. Because it shouldn't be 2 years that we know, and I won't say they because I'm part of the village, that we know that your bill is that you get an estimated bill, and we don't tell you why. It has to be a reason why. It could be a lot of different reasons, but we should not go back 2 years and say, well, it's been broken for 2 years. That's on us, that's our meter. Now, if you got something on the inside of your house that's using that water, something that's leaking by, that's on you. But if they told you that the meter was broken and it was a part or whatever missing, I don't feel that you should go back on 2 years because that's your fault. That's your liability. So that's what I would suggest that you do. Who's her? Okay. I hate that. Just somebody take that. Just somebody get that because I want them to get. Oh, okay. You're going to hold it. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Is it still on? My question is about cleaning in the community center. I line dance over there every Monday. The place is filthy. I've called Trustee Possum. I've emailed the mayor. Complain about it constantly. And I mean, it's in bad shape. We have people who come on Mondays from Crete, Park Forest, all the neighboring communities, and they come here and line dance with us. I'm trying to stay and keep my dollars in the village, but I have other choices. So I'm wondering, is there still a cleaning service there?
Yes, there is. They do these community, they're supposed to do the community center, but it's on an abbreviated basis. They don't do it every week. Back at one time they used to do, especially during basketball season, they used to do it every week. But you're correct. If that center looks like that, are you guys paying rent to be in there? You don't know?
I believe we do.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you're paying rent to be in there, that's part of the rent, the cleaning. Now, I don't know what type of agreement that you have with Parks and Recs as far as who's supposed to clean what up, but maybe you need to sit down and talk to Possum to find out, because you're correct. If you're in there and you're paying rent, then it should be. If you leave it, it should be clean. We do have a cleaning service. They are still there. They don't clean as often because of the cost you know, that we're trying to cut back, but they're supposed to at least clean it once a week. How often do you have your?
Every Monday.
Okay. I'm glad you brought it up. Don't believe me, everything you bring up is going to be addressed.
I have pictures, it's filthy.
Okay, I'm glad you, because everything you bring up will be addressed. I'll find out for that for you too. We got a few more minutes. I'm over time right now because I want to have someone come in. A couple of announcements I want to make, but I'll take one more because I've kept everyone here from this past 8:30, and I, usually try to hold to that point so people can, come in and say what they have to say. And then, I don't want you to be here all night. This is not a board meeting. Yes, ma'am.
I want to piggyback on what was asked before. I understand that we get $845,000 unpaid bills that haven't been paid, and the oldest one I understand is 151 days old. And I want to know who's marking the bill, and how in the world can we get $845,000 in unpaid bills there when you guys are supposed to be watching the purse strings? I want to know who's doing what, and why are we responsible for $845,000 on the bill? It seems like to me, if I get a bill and not being paid, they're going to send me a notice. I want to know how many of these are duplicate, and what are you guys going to get most of the money for the water fund? Are you letting residents know that they're not being, the money is used for paying bills instead of the water fund, things in the water fund? So I want to know in the future, going forward, what are the trustees prepared to do to monitor the revenues that's coming in? $845,000 is a little excessive for a town this small.
Well, let me explain something to you. First of all, $845,000, tell you the truth, Bernice, is cheap. The reason why, I understand what you're saying, but as I stated before, we get this money in increments. That's why you're right. It should be a monitor there to say, hey, you can't spend any more in 2 weeks, such time. One thing we can do for your department is pay your payroll, and that's it. Don't go out there and buy this, don't do that, don't do this, and you over your budget. Those things have been brought up, I brought them up, and it should be something in place. Someone should be held accountable to say, or someone should have the authority to say, hold, stop, that's it, don't pay anymore. Me, myself, I don't have that authority. I can go and talk to Mohan and tell them, we should, but if someone overrides and said, okay, we got to pay this bill, then that's what it is. At the meetings, I bring it up and say, hey, we're over. What we're going to do, we need to stop. But a lot of services are essential. We can't stop the essential services. I'm not going to pull police officers off the street and say, okay, I can't pay you. So we have to bite the bullet. I think the last time we took money from the water fund, it's been a while. We've taken it from other funds to pay payroll, but the water fund we haven't taken it from in quite a while. But we have done it, but it's been a while since we've done that. But, as far as 150 days, I remember when I was trustee that we owed almost 2 years from people. When you do business with a municipality, you know that your money's not going to come right away because they don't get it right away. And they're going to take care of home first, which means they're going to take care of their personnel before they take care of you as a vendor. You as a vendor going in knowing that you're not going to get your money in 60 days and 90 days. But at some point, we should give you something, we should have something allowable so we have to go back to you. You don't sit up and tell us, well, we can't do this. We can't pay you. We can't pay you right now. So now what happens? We get them to die straight and then go back and ask them, can you at least give us this? They'll tell you no, because you haven't paid me. So that's what you want to do. You want to keep that door open. You want to give them something. And you're right. We should give them something if we can. But other things shouldn't be brought on. We shouldn't be saying, okay, we're going to do this, and then all of a sudden, wow, we're doing this now, which wasn't even something that needs to be done right now. Right now, we should be dealing with essentials. Like the governor said, we should be dealing with essentials, not going out there trying to spend extra other money for something else. Okay, Judy?
Bernice, I agree with what you're saying, but in all fairness to this administration, including the bobbleheads that sit up there, we were in a really big debt than what you're talking about right now when Towers was here. And at that time, I said anybody that ran for office had to be nuts because they had to clean up that mess. Now, we're not in that deep a hole as we were before. And I understand that, but my problem with this whole situation is, why is it that you have to find us out at a town hall meeting? Why isn't the transparency there? Why isn't it on the reports that we get very rarely? And when you get them, you don't have time enough to review them and ask questions on them, because you have to ask questions right now, right after the Pledge of Allegiance. I have a problem with the $800,000 that we owe, like anybody else does. But by trying to pay off what the last administration created and keep moving forward, paying as we're going, we're still having bills come in for what we're doing. Therefore, it doesn't appear that we're moving forward, but they have. We are not that far in a hole. The problem is, don't keep us in the dark. And God forbid, don't lie to us. And I have to give credit where credit is due. And I'm not happy with the non-transparency, but there are things being done. And a lot of things that are being done is right here, right now. The fact that you're here, that we're able to talk without screaming at each other, without wanting to choke each other. We're willing to work together. Those of us that were bitter enemies in the last regime are talking together, working together, and some are on committees together. That's definitely a step forward. But as I said, we need to know what's going on so that we can help carry on. And it is our town. They owe us that. We're paying for that. Therefore, I think what our administration needs to do is become more transparent, and the transparency is not there. Maybe on some things they are, but on other things they are not. I didn't know we were $800,000 of bills are sitting in a drawer somewhere. That sounds like Will Milda's bill here. So, that's all.
Okay, with that said, I do have, I want to bring this young lady here up. She's one of our own. She just wants to announce about the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. I just want to let everyone know they had this last year at Bloom Trail. It was an all-night event, all night. And I did go to it. I didn't stay there all night. But they walk around that track in support of breast cancer, and they raise money. She's coming down, and then the thing about it was, I just have to say it the way I say it, the way I see it. I didn't see but maybe 5 people from Sauk Village there. Okay, and then that's why she's bringing it out now. From Sauk Village, there were a lot of people from other towns. And I even asked them, where are you from? And they would tell me, only people that were there from Sauk Village was her husband, and her son that was there walking, and she brought her family, which doesn't live here, but it wasn't a lot. So I asked her, and she called me and asked me, could she come out and just enlighten everyone. This is right here in our backyard. The first one is not going to be, but the other one will be. But she's one of the coordinators and one of the chairmen. So I just, at this time, she's going to give you a quick summary of what's going on, and I would like for you to come, Tracy. She's also a mother of, her son is Eagle Scout. He made his Eagle Scout, and he's the one that, so without further ado, here you go, Tracy.
Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Everybody feels a little tense here. I'm coming with some information that I'm totally passionate about. I've lived in Sauk Village for about 12 years. And I've been so fortunate to meet so many amazing people. And I am here with the American Cancer Society. I have my best friend here too, Tracy. We also do Boy Scouts out here as well. But you have so many talented and gifted people right here in your community. And the thing about the American Cancer Society, before I get started, is, again, I did state that I am passionate. I am a mother who lost a child to cancer. And I never thought that God would use me for this. And as we sit here and we go through meetings, and I'm in meetings all the time, and hearings day in and day out, I facilitate workshops. And what I find most interesting is the time that we just kind of avoid thinking about people that are seriously in need. And what I'm saying is that there are tons of organizations out here, be it for cancer, cystic fibrosis, diabetes, all of which are important. However, for me, I do cancer because it impacted me in a personal way. I had to be reactive versus proactive. For those who have never gone through cancer, I'm pretty sure that you've heard of someone or know of someone that is. And this is an opportunity to be proactive versus reactive. So we're doing this big kickoff. And right now, like I said, I've been with the American Cancer Society for about 9 years. This is my second year as the event chair. So it's a lot of work, but I'm so excited every day to do it. So excited every day to do it. Again, like I said, because I did lose a son to cancer, I was in a dark place for about 3 years. Didn't know why I was selected to do this. I started off, I got some information from Tracy, my best friend. We went to a meeting at Prairie State College. And I thought, okay, I'll donate some money. I never thought that I would get involved. Eventually we formed a team. I then became a team captain. I became the advocacy chair, going to Springfield, fighting for different charges that are so crucial in our lives, like a smoke-free Illinois. That's a charge that we got to pass. It feels good to go to a restaurant and not have to indicate if you need smoking or non-smoking. So it's a lot of work that goes behind some of the things that we do. A lot of the money is allocated for cancer support for people that need wigs. They may need transportation to and from the medical facilities. Again, I do facilitate workshops all over the place. And it was important to me, like Derek stated, that there were tons of people that were out at Bloom Trail High School. How many people have teenagers or small children in this community? All right. Okay, I will be speaking at your schools in the upcoming weeks. I know you back there. I don't know where I know her from, but I know her face. And it's important even with the smaller children because a lot of them are at home being caregivers, be it to their siblings, to their parents, grandparents, and you know what, they have a voice. And I felt that it was a need for me to make a true attempt to touch as many people as I could because this is so much bigger than you and I. Our kickoff will be held on Thursday, February 12th. This is a free event. And what will happen at this event is that I'm going to do probably tons of presentations. It will only be for about an hour and a half. There will be food, but what we're going to do is kind of tell you what this is all about. I don't have the time today to tell you about the American Cancer Society and all the things that they do, but I am so glad to be a vital part of it. All right? I'm going to leave some information here. I also would like to have this information placed on the website. The actual relay will take place May 15th, which is a Friday at Bloom Trail High School. We've had it in the previous years at Marian Catholic. Last year was an indoor event. This year we're pushing for an indoor event again because I have to take into consideration safety, the weather conditions. We want to make sure that it's an invigorating experience for everyone. So again, I do encourage you to come out. It's absolutely free. This is on a Thursday, February 12th. There are tons of people that are forming teams. Right now, I have about 14 communities that are involved with this relay. People are reaching out from Creek, Steger, Olympia Fields, Country Club Hills. My goal is to get to every single school that I possibly can within the course of a year. If you would like more information, I have business cards, and we want to have this information placed on the website. And I'm excited about you being a part of this. Sauk Village rocks, yes? Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's one of our own. Oh, okay. I also like to say thank everyone for coming out. Next month, we will have it's going to be something that you're going to be kind of unique. I'm bringing someone from out in the city to come out here and do a great presentation for Black History Month. And also, like I said, there's going to be some surprises. I would urge everyone that can get the word out to let everyone come out and see what these people can do. I'm very excited. All I can do is tell you it involves the youth. So that's something that we need to, you know, and I'm going to try to get the school administration and the churches out to see what this young man can do and to network and let them see. That'll be part of our theme next month, and also bring your questions. I appreciate everyone that came out. No question is stupid. Don't think that it is. Yes. Judy P.L.A.N. Sure.
Judy brought up a really good question. She stated that she has limitations, whereas she would not really be able to relay. And what I want to tell you is that it's called the relay. However, we do not walk or run all night long. It's it's a celebration. We are celebrating life. It's for our thrivers, our survivors, because you can't tell me that your life will ever be the same once you go through cancer. No one wants to hear the words that you have cancer. So I want to emphasize that there's so many volunteer opportunities. We just need you to be present and engaged. So there are tons of things that you can do. We will not be making you run hoops, Judy, I promise, because I won't do it. But a lot of entertainment, and it's just a very fun, invigorating experience. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Judy.
Oh, okay, I just want quickly, yes, she's right. I was there. You don't walk all night, but you walk during the night. So don't consider you're going to be doing walking, but there's entertainment. They had a band there last year, a jazz band. It was really nice, so you can. So anyway, again, I thank everyone for coming out. Afterwards, if you have any special things you want to ask me about, whatever, I'll be having no problem. I'll be here for a little while. But thank you so very much. You guys have a great weekend. Stay warm. Thank you.